Okay guys, so today what I want to do with you guys is I actually do these a lot for myself. I love mushrooms. And what I like to do with them is I like to saute them and then I set them aside and I add them to everything. I'll add them to, I don't know, soups. If you want, like if you're making an omelet or something, you can put them inside an omelet. You can put them in a sauce and put it on top of anything, any kind of meat, chicken, fish. Or just eat them by themselves. They're delicious. I always try to get a medley of mushrooms. So I was at Walmart the other day, and so I've got some organic white whole mushrooms here. I've got some shiitake mushrooms, and I've got some oyster mushrooms. So the first thing I'm going to do with these is I'm going to clean them, obviously. So this is what an oyster mushroom looks like. They're actually beautiful. I love them. They're so good. You can actually grow these at home. They sell kits that you can grow them in a dark place, and the nice thing about it is that they keep it doesn't die. It's not like you make it once and then that's it. No, you make it once, you trim them, you eat them, and then they grow back. So it never ends. These are oyster. These are also beautiful. Love them. So I'm going to put these in here to wash too, and then the standard old white mushrooms, which are also very tasty. Okay. All right. So put this in the trash and let's wash this. Just give me a second because I am conducting a class right now via Teams, and I just heard somebody submit a comment. So I'm going to leave these running underwater. I'll be right back. Okay, so the other ingredients, guys, I've got green onions, garlic, and I like Badia adobo seasoning. I have toasted sesame oil, not plain sesame oil, toasted sesame oil, and rice vinegar. Now, as far as the vinegar, you know, whatever vinegar you like, but traditionally I like to use rice vinegar. The other oil that I like to use too with sesame oil, because by itself sesame oil can be very strong, is extra virgin olive oil. So the first thing I'm going to do now is I am going to peel and mince the garlic. So always chop off the root end. Okay. Then crush the cloves with the back of your knife. Peel. Oops. And there we go. 3/9. Now, the amount of garlic is completely up to you. Some people don't like garlic. You don't have to use garlic at all if you don't want to. But honestly, well, I'm Italian. I love garlic. So, but you want to use just one clove? Fine, use one clove. If you don't want to use any garlic, or if you want to use 6 cloves, it's up to you. I always add a little bit of salt to it, because salt helps break it down. And then we're going to mince this. In the meantime, I'm going to turn my fire up to, I want it high, because remember what sauté means. Sauté in French means jump. Just like in, I don't know how it's said in Spanish, but in Italian, to jump is saltare. So in French, to jump is sauté. So literally you are making your food jump in the pan. And sauté is a process of cooking where the pan is extremely hot, high heat, and little oil. That is sautéing. Little oil, high heat. So now, exactly how you want this minced is also completely up to you. Some people like it very finely minced. Some people like it rough chopped. I'm gonna do it like in between, because it's you. I mean, me, I don't mind biting into a chunk of garlic because I like garlic. But some people, they find that disagreeable. So I'm gonna mince it up a little finer. There we go. And almost like a paste, but not quite. That's good enough, at least for me. Okay, wash my hands and get the mushies here. Okay, mushrooms. I'm gonna move this over. Notice I put this down so my cutting boards don't slide. And now I'm going to slice my mushrooms. I gotta get a bowl to put them in. So let's see, I'll get one of my nice big pasta bowls here. There we go. I hope you guys can see this. And about ½ an inch. I like mine chunky. Now, if you want it thinly sliced, slice it thin. It's completely up to you. I like them a little chunky. So I'm doing about ½ inch, ¼ inch. The oyster mushroom, or the shiitakes, I'm trimming off the bottoms. There we go. Because those tend to be a little tough, the very bottom part. There we go. Mushrooms are extremely healthy, actually. And they have a lot of taste. Now, sometimes they say, you know, the regular white mushrooms are pretty tasteless. To a certain degree, that's true. But for the most part, mushrooms have an incredibly woodsy, earthy taste. And I just love them. One mushroom that I wish I could get fresh, but unfortunately all you can do here is find it dry, is Italian porcini mushrooms. Those taste like so woodsy. They're delicious, but they're really hard to find fresh. If you do buy them dry, be sure, guys, that you buy them product of Italy or product of France. Don't buy the Chinese ones, because I'm not saying anything about the Chinese, but theirs just don't taste as good. For some reason, they just don't have the flavor. Another very sought after type of mushroom is truffles. And of course, truffles, literally worth their weight in gold. That's how, because truffles can't be grown commercially. They have to be they have to be found. They have to be hunted. Well, hunted. They have to be sought after. And in Italy, the animal they use to hunt truffles is the pig, because the pig has a predilection for truffles. Which reminds me, let me put this back where it belongs, because I'm going to wash this later. And here we go. Which reminds me, I want to put some truffle salt in this. This is available at Publix, black truffle salt. All right, so now I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil. More olive oil than sesame oil, because like I said, sesame oil is very strong. So just maybe a tablespoon of sesame oil. That's good enough. Now this pan has been on high heat, so the oil immediately is warm. So first thing I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to add the garlic. Love that sound. All right. Now the garlic's browning. While the garlic is browning there, I'm going to give it about 20 seconds. Then I'm going to add the mushrooms. You don't want the garlic to brown too much. In fact, now it's just starting to brown. I don't know if you can see that. Now I'm going to add the mushrooms. And as the mushrooms release liquid as they're cooking, it'll prevent the garlic from burning, right? So here we go. This is high heat. Now, how long you cook this is completely up to you. Some people like their mushrooms almost raw, and that's fine. I personally don't like that. Some people like their mushrooms, really, really cooked until they're soggy. I like it halfway. I like it so that there's still a little bit of bite to them, a little bit of, you can feel the texture, but that they are cooked through. Meantime, I'm going to show you something else. Green onions. Now, little trick about green onions. Got a little glass of water here. I've already washed these, and I'm going to trim off the ends. Okay? Now, with green onions, you can use the white part, but the white part is very strong. It's really got a strong onion flavor. So for this, we just want to use the green part. So I'm slicing these babies like that. Maybe about julienne, well, it's not really julienne technically, 1/4 of an inch, maybe a little smaller, until we get to the white part. There we go. Then we stop. Now this, guys, don't throw it away. Put it in water, root end down, leave it at room temperature. It'll grow back. And you can do that about 2 more times. Chop it, it'll grow back. Then you gotta throw it away because then it won't have any taste. I'm not gonna add this until the end. I don't want this to cook. I want the raw flavor. So, I'm gonna stir the mushrooms around a little bit more. That's how they look. Okay. I don't know if you can see that. Cook them a little bit longer. And meantime, forgive me, I just heard somebody else chat me on the chat. And we are good. My cat Squish is looking at me because he's hungry, but he's not going to eat till later. Okay. So these babies are cooking down just fine. I'm going to add a little bit of adobo seasoning, not too much. And again, it's all up to you. But I like truffle salt because it does give it a nice truffly, earthy taste. So I'm going to add that. And remember, add your seasonings at the end. This is going to cook for about another minute, then it's done, okay? Another thing that I like to add, but it's completely up to you. My wife likes to taste, I like to taste. It's nutritional yeast. This has got how do you describe it? It's like got I don't know. It's really good. It's really good, and it's good for you. So I'm going to add a little bit of nutritional yeast, about a tablespoon. And there we go. And you can buy that on Amazon. That's what I do. Now that the mushrooms are almost done, I can feel they are cooked, but you see they're still springy. That's the way I like them. So I'm going to leave them here for another second. By the way, I want to show you something else too. My vegan cheese. Yeah, I made vegan cheese out of macadamia nuts, raw macadamia nuts and raw cashew nuts, and right now it's culturing. It's going to turn into a brie cheese because I put some penicillium cadmium inside there, so it's going to grow a mold on the outside. So I'm waiting for this to, leaving it in here to culture. Okay, so now, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to add a splash of rice wine vinegar. Or rice vinegar, I'm sorry, not rice wine vinegar. Just a little bit. You don't want too much. And what I like too is I bought this. This is a vinegar that's made in China. It's called Qingyang vinegar. This is like a very, very what's the word I want to use? It's almost like it's earthy, very, very earthy, very, very it's got a really deep flavor. Use this in moderation. I'm just going to put like a tiny splash. Again, this is also, I bought this like 2 years ago, and that's how little I use. But again, it's vinegar, so it doesn't go bad, right? Okay. And these babies are done. So now at this point, I'm going to turn off the fire, and I'm going to add my green onions. There we go. Finished product. Now, I'm going to pour this into my plate, and I'm going to let it cool down before I refrigerate them. All right. Also, before I refrigerate them too, I'm going to get rid of all this excess liquid, because that's just liquid that was put off by the mushrooms. So there we go. Shiitake, regular mushrooms, and oyster mushrooms. There you go, guys. Beautiful. All right, and that is it. Time to clean up.